You're the reason why I am my way. You're the reason why I rip my shirts, why I eat at the buffet. Butter, you got your very own kind of nice. We all live inside a butter world. Oh, butter, butter. Gonna eat it by the stick tonight. Gonna eat out this world. Oh, butter. I'm about to take a bite, 'cause I want that salty cream. What I dream about all night. Butter dreaming. I'm about to take a bite, 'cause I want that salty cream. What I dream about all.
Yo, 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 yo.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Monday Night Live with Butterfield. We have our wonderful Mr. Henderson. Wait, how do you pronounce that?
Hey,
And
respect my pronouns, you misogynistic piece of.
and her son. And her son pronouns are and her.
And her. And hers. And him. Whatever. What's going on, Jay?
All good, all good. I am Jay, also your co-host for Butterfield. And together we are Butterfield, the Butter Brothers, here to promote the pro meat message.
Yeah, we've been shilling for red meat now for a bit over 2 years. Still not funded by them. So, yo, big meat, big dairy. What's going on, man?
Where
Help us
are
out.
our paychecks? Where are our paychecks?
Yeah, help us out. We're just doing this out of charity for your industry. Really? Come on, guys.
Well, it turns out they're actually moving to plant-based industries now because they are all invested in that whole pea protein, plant protein manufacturing facilities, right? Because there's clearly more money there.
Yeah. It's all just smokescreen, venture capital money, the kind of money that just disappears later in FTX and Silicon Valley Bank crashes.
Yeah.
But hey, as long as people get healthier and they eat more meat, it's cool. But yeah, you're right. That's actually a very good point. The very same meat companies are largely invested in these ventures. They don't know better.
Yeah. They're just following the money, right? And when you can produce a food product, a food-like product instead of a food product, then obviously it's going to come out cheaper, higher profit margins.
Yeah.
At,
And so
at, at the
our
cost
mission
of your health.
our mission at Butterfield is to dismantle the perverse food agenda and advocate for animal-based foods as the solution to many of humanity's pressing problems, whether that's health-related, economy-related, or food security-related. Animal foods really are the way forward, and in animal fats we trust. We are Butterfield after all.
Indeed.
So, if you haven't already, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Go follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Obviously, we do this every Monday. We hold our Monday Night Live Q&A on Instagram. Then we head on over to YouTube, where we have a full-on show with slides. Put a lot of effort. We actually research things. This is all fact-checker approved. Hoping that you can be a better informed meat consumer, so you can defend your views and be the favorite person of everyone at the family's dining table. Support the show, like and share our content, helps with the algorithm. Go buy our merch, check out our store on our website, butterfield.com. We have Make Butter Great Again hats, Butter Battery t-shirts, hoodies, and some other fun stuff. Join our free Discord. We have a free Discord. We hold Zoom meetings every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. We hold monthly challenges as well. It's free. It's a thriving community of meat enthusiasts, non-dogmatic approach. Really just open to anyone who thinks along the same lines. Let's hang out over there. And last but not least, we do offer 2-on-1 consultations for animal-based nutrition. If you're struggling with weight loss or feeling like you're plateauing with your weight training routine, hit us up. We'll help you out the best way we know how to. Together we have, 15, 20 years of failed experience. So we failed so that you don't have to. We have a great show planned today.
Let's hop right into it. Let's go. Monday Night Live with Butterfield, episode number 17. Tonight we're going to be talking about FODMAPs. Sugars are your friend. You'll see why. You'll see why. And on top of that, we are doing split squats for the April challenge, leg prill, as my brother likes to call it. The challenge has begun. We are on April 1st. So, split squats, leg prill, 50 split squats of any variation, Bulgarian, regular, or ATG split squats, whatever split squats you're most comfortable doing. If you're doing the ATG, you can start with the elevated ones. See how you progress as you go through the month. See if you can get to the bottom flat on the floor. Right now, I'm doing them with the heels raised. That really helps. And obviously, this is taking place in our private members group, in our Discord group. If you want to go over there, chat with us, you can. And you can add in your points, how many split squats you're doing. 1 rep equals 1 point. So if you're doing odd points, we know you're training one leg over the other more.
No, wait, two. I mean, one on each leg should be 1 point, no?
No, 1 rep per leg is what we're calling it.
Okay, if you say so.
Yeah, so you may need to add more points in there. And yeah, we're doing weekly check-ins on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. This is a hangout session. We're going to talk about the challenge and talk about other things that you want to talk about or questions you may have. Current leaderboard. Yours truly leading by 196. JB over here, followed by Sassy doing 80, Shannon 72, and Anderson's 50. But Anderson, you may need to double check your numbers there.
Yeah.
Courtney with 24. Courtney, if you're listening, I hope you're doing split squats as of this moment.
Yeah, as per your request.
As per Courtney's request, she wanted a leg challenge, and she got it. So I'm hoping you're there on number 1 spot by the end of the month. And to quickly recap what we covered last week, we did study club, and we covered a paper where a very cute dog had cancer, and through a ketogenic metabolic therapy, through a keto diet, high fat, no carb diet, low carb, the tumor was regressed, and the dog continued to live on a happy, healthy life. We also made a post about it on Butterfield, right, Mr. Anderson, about Dr. Thomas Seyfried, how you can use the ketogenic diet as a treatment or as to supplement your treatment for cancer.
Yeah, definitely check out Dr. Thomas Seyfried's work regarding this field. He's been at it for a while, and seems like an underrated guy in the ketogenic community.
Yeah. Certainly, as he points it out, certainly something that's not going to be looked upon favorable because, right, it's food related, right? Not a lot of pharmaceutical money to be made if you can fix your problems with food. Also, it kind of puts the responsibility on your shoulders, right? You kind of have to fix up your diet as opposed to taking a drug or taking whatever treatment and then continuing whatever lifestyle you choose to prefer. So yeah, it requires fixing up your lifestyle and dietary habits. So, FODMAP.
So diving into FODMAP, yeah, I ate some beans last night. That's right, I ate some beans, and now I'm paying the price. So thought this was an appropriate topic so that you can make a better decision.
Yes. What is it? Why does it cause problems? What are foods that are high FODMAP foods? What are you actually eating on a FODMAP diet? And tips and other stuff.
Yeah, a low FODMAP diet. Yeah.
A low FODMAP diet. Correct.
So what is a FODMAP? Very simply, the letters stand for fermentable oligo, di, and monosaccharides and polyols. So these are just fancy names for sugars. Yeah, saccharide, right? Any series of sweet-tasting carbohydrates, especially a simple sugar or an oligomer, polymer, or of simple sugars. In other words, a compound of sugar with the base, sucrate, and the unit structure of carbohydrates, of general formula, whatever. Either the simple sugars or polymers such as starch and cellulose. Saccharides exist in either a ring or short chain conformation and typically contain 5 or 6 carbon atoms. Okay, so in the past we've talked about fatty acids and how there's short chain, medium chain, long chain fatty acids. Surprise, surprise, the same principle applies to carbohydrates, sugars, right? And that's really what we're dealing with here when we say oligo, di, and monosaccharides, and polyols, just different forms of sugars.
Correct, correct. And what's interesting, right, is that all these different chains of sugars, doesn't seem that nice, as opposed to the different chains of saturated fatty acids. Just something interesting,
Something to point out.
something to point out.
Yeah. So FODMAPs, they're known to cause digestive issues. Why might they cause these issues? Number one, FODMAPs aggravate the gut. Why exactly will they do that? The short chain sugars ferment in the colon and they cause gas, bloating, and inflammation. It's commonly suggested and recommended that to ease IBS and SIBO symptoms, it's a good idea to eliminate the FODMAP foods, right? And this is one of the reasons why carnivore elimination works. If you're not familiar with the FODMAP diet, it's a diet that is low in FODMAP and it's another elimination diet, and it seeks to eliminate high FODMAP foods. Just something in common that it has with the carnivore diet, but a FODMAP diet is not a carnivore diet, right?
Yeah, correct.
So I want to highlight the diagram, right? When you look at the digestive tract, you go to the gut, right? You have the small intestine, which is the part found inside, and then the large intestine, which is your colon, is the part found outside, and that's usually where the fermentation tends to occur, where the gas will build up and just kind of ferment, right? That's where your gut bacteria, your so-called gut bacteria and gut microbiome live. And when people talk about gut health and they say you need to eat all this fiber, what they really mean is the fiber feeds the gut bacteria in your large intestine, and supposedly a diverse set of gut bacteria is beneficial to your good health. If you take that at face value, I disagree with that notion. But the mechanism by which it feeds your gut or your colon cells, your colonocytes, is the fibers will be fermented, the carbohydrates will be fermented by the bacteria, and the bacteria will transform them into fatty acids, short chain fatty acid, butyric acid or butyrate, its ketone form, and that is said to be beneficial for your gut because it feeds your colon cells. Just a little bit of background in case you're not familiar with that little detail, why people recommend fiber for your gut health, right? It's also a good place to mark that the richest dietary source of butyric acid or butyrate is butter. So why
Yes.
eat fiber for your butyric acid to feed your colon cells? Just something to point out. And then go to the next slide, and just another example of why these foods might aggravate the gut and why really maybe we're not meant to be consuming lots of these foods, or maybe why they're problematic is, well, we're humans. We're meant to have a human diet. And should we compare this to another animal like a chimpanzee or a gorilla, we'll find that there's some similarities and then there's some differences in their digestive tract. First and foremost, we have a small intestine, we have a large intestine, but they also have a cecum, which is the first portion of the large intestine. We do not have this. If we do, we have a very, very small section, but the cecum is meant for fermentation of lots of of fibrous material, especially like the cellulose, which we really can't digest. That's why chimpanzees will be eating leaves and things like that, and that's not really like we can't eat what they eat. But something to highlight is the difference in the small intestine. Our small intestine makes up a larger composition of our whole digestive tract versus that of the chimpanzees. So in the small intestine, this is where proteins and fats will be very easily absorbed. That is why one of the reasons why carnivore diet is a very low residue diet is because when you're eating only steak and eggs, a lot of it, or just meat, from any animal, a lot of that is going to be absorbed in your small intestine. So very little will actually make it to your large intestine, which is why you'll see lots of people alleviate their IBS, again, their SIBO, or their Crohn's, right? Because they're not aggravating the gut anymore with the fibrous material that goes there and gets stuck there. Versus you compare that to a chimpanzee, their small intestine is very short, it's relatively shorter, and the large intestine is relatively bigger. Why is that? Because chimpanzees and gorillas, they are hind gut fermenters, kind of like similar like to a horse, which is they derive a lot of their nutrition from the fermentation of the fibrous materials. They don't really they're not designed like us. Compare that to like a ruminant. Ruminants will have like 4-chambered stomachs where they're not fermenting food at the end, but they ferment it at the beginning, and then they will absorb it in fatty acid form. No one's really ingesting these fibrous foods as fiber. You don't have fiber running along your arteries, right? You have glucose, and then you'll have the fermented fibers that turn to fatty acids. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yes.
Right? Speaking of like why the FODMAPs aggravate the gut. So anyways, here are some examples. Nice picture we found of foods high in FODMAPs.
Yeah, and keep again, these are saccharides, which are carbohydrates, sweet carbohydrates, which basically means sugars. So you have your fructose, lactose, which is your milk sugar, fructans and galactans and polyols. Fruit, excess excess fructose will come from apple, mango, nashi, pear, tinned fruits, natural juice, watermelons. Some people love watermelon. Some people love apples. Sweeteners like fructose, high fructose corn syrup, large total fructose dose, like concentrated sources, and honey. Look at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So diet high in fruit and honey, and raw dairy is a diet very high in FODMAPs. So if you're suffering with digestive issues, maybe not the best diet for you.
Yeah. Although what would be interesting would be like raw milk, right? Because you'll have a better absorption of the lactose.
Right. Yes. That's also very true. Good pointing that out.
Fructans. Lactose, milk. Milk from cows, goats, or sheep. Ice cream, yogurt, cheeses, like cottage cream, mascarpone, ricotta.
Yeah. The soft unripened cheeses, right?
Yeah, soft unripened cheeses. And then fructans, like asparagus, beetroot, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, eggplant, fennel, garlic, leek, okra, onion, all kinds of onions, shallots, spring onions. Cereals. You know how we feel about cereals? Wheat and rye. So anything that has wheat, anything that has rye, that includes your beers. Bread, crackers, cookies, couscous, pasta. To all the pasta lovers out there. Fruit again, right? Fructans. Fruit has fructans. Custard apple, persimmon, watermelon, and other miscellaneous like chicory, dandelion, and inulin. Which are interesting because inulin and chicory are like your keto sources of fiber, right?
People will go as far as supplement them.
Yeah. And then galactans. right?
Yeah.
What my brother was talking about a lot.
My enemy for like the past 24 hours been giving me a hard time.
Legumes, baked beans, chickpeas, kidney beans, lentils, and obviously all other legumes. And
Yep.
then polyols. Again, we see fruit again. So fruit is fruit. Fruit has fructose. Fruit has fructans, and fruit has polyols. Um, Again, yeah, the whole list of fruits: apple, apricot, avocado, blackberry, cherry, lychee, nashi, nectarine,
Lychee.
peach,
Yeah.
pear, or leaky,
Lychee.
lychee, plum, prune, watermelon. Watermelon again. Vegetables: cauliflower, green capsicum, bell pepper, mushroom, sweet corn, and then your sweeteners. Basically, all your keto sweeteners are here, or those considered low sugar sweeteners like sorbitol, mannitol, maltitol, and xylitol. Uh, that's why when you have a Quest bar too many, uh, suddenly your stomach doesn't feel well, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, or some of those Halo Top ice creams.
Yes, Halo
Yeah.
Top ice creams. Yes.
Yeah. Got dairy, and then they'll have erythritol, which I believe is also a polyol. It's not listed there, but erythritol, huge one.
Hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a polio, erythritol,
But there you
and
go. Yeah, just more examples. Wheat-based products. Obviously, cereal, bread, crackers, legumes, some vegetables. So we touched on most of these, I think.
yeah,
Fruits, blackberries, dates, pears, peaches, beverages like beer, wines, fruit juices, soft drinks with high fructose corn syrup, soy milk, high in estrogen and high in FODMAP.
yeah, yes.
And then, of course, full disclosure, animal foods are not necessarily exempt, but dairy-based milk and products, yogurt, ice cream, so on and so forth.
Hmm.
Uh, Raw milk, potentially an exception.
Raw milk potential an exception. Yes.
Yeah. So now we covered the foods that are high in FODMAP and any potential issues. Let's discuss about the benefits of low FODMAP food. First and foremost, one of the a very common saying in the alternate health space is that disease starts in the gut. If you think about it, the what we consume is one of the ways in which we get exposed to outside things, right? To outside potential contamination sources, right? So the digestive tract runs from our mouth all the way down to where we excrete things from. And really, if you look at it, goes to the stomach, small intestine, large intestine, the rectum. Um, it's kind of like its own system, right? We're kind of like a snake living in a flesh suit, if you will, if you think about it. But yeah, it's said that a lot of disease starts in the gut. The gut, part of the job of the gut is determining what gets absorbed and what stays out. What's going to get excreted. And so when you start messing with this mechanism, with the gates, right, with the tight junctions of the gut, you'll start having all sorts of things that shouldn't be in your body circulating around your body and potentially causing issues. And we see this with things like gluten and lectins. These will tend to cause leaky gut, what have you, whatever you make of that term. Um, and then things will start like uh, leaching inside of your body. And when you have lots of anti-nutrients, things coming from vegetables, from greens, that can lead to problems, right? Talking about like arthritis or inflammation on your joints, so on and so forth. Of course, we need to mention that any evidence of this actually happening is speculative so far, it seems. But we do know that plant nutrients do find themselves distributed around our bodies, right? As like I believe there's been research that shows lectins found in the uterus lining of mothers of
Hmm.
women, for example, things like that. So these foods really do permeate our bodies and get to places where they shouldn't be in the first place, right? So disease starts in the gut, right? Start with bloating, right? So benefits of low FODMAP, reduction of gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, and stomach pain. I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Leads to quality of life improvement, right? If you're not people who suffer with Crohn's, with ulcerative colitis, IBS, their life is severely impaired by their digestive problems. It's whether that's gas or having to find a bathroom. Like some people's lives are really limited. Other benefit, improvement in digestion and nutrient absorption, right? So again, one of the many benefits we see on carnivore diets, you're removing the FODMAPs, you're removing any fibrous material or plant matter for that matter, and instead eating lots of nutrient-dense animal foods, right? So the body can start to heal itself, right? Because animal foods are rich in many micronutrients, zinc and selenium, strong antioxidants, carnosine, strong antioxidants as well, glutathione, sulfur, which makes glutathione, fat-soluble vitamins. Really, animal foods are like incredibly beneficial to human health, and they rarely get touted for that benefit. There you go. And improved mood, sleep, and many psychological benefits, right? So one of the other common things we hear is the gut is connected to the brain, so the gut-brain axis. So if your gut is inflamed, if you're, like when you have bloating or gas, it's very likely that this is having an effect on your brain and just your overall mood. I've been feeling not gonna lie, I've been feeling pretty lethargic today since I woke up, and I've been gassy all day. And what did I have last night? Full disclosure, I had some beans, man. I had some red kidney beans. They're messing me up, man, from the inside. Chemical warfare. Not a big fan.
Yeah. So, what are low FODMAP foods? Right. So, yeah, we have a fruit column, vegetable column, grain foods, milk products, and other. So, yeah, certainly not a big fan of this, but fine, let's cover it. Uh, Fruit, banana, blueberry, boysenberry, cantaloupe, cranberry, durian, grape, grapefruit, honeydew, melon, kiwi fruit, lemon, lime, mandarin, orange, passion fruit, pawpaw, raspberry, rhubarb, rock melon, star anise, strawberry, and tangelo. Note
Interesting.
if fruit is dried, eat in small quantities.
Yeah. Pawpaw. I don't know what that is. I'm surprised to see bananas there. To me, bananas just seem like very sweet fruits. They're like,
Very starchy.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
they're very,
But, interesting. I mean,
yeah.
I'll take that at face value. Um,
Vegetables, alfalfa, artichoke, bamboo shoots, bean shoots, bok choy, carrot, celery, choco, choy sum, endive, ginger, green beans, lettuce, olives. Okay, olives. Out of all that
well, it's
list.
technically a fruit.
Yeah, true, true, true. Parsnip, potato, pumpkin, red capsicum, bell pepper, silver beet, spinach, summer squash, yellow, sweet potato, taro, tomato, turnip, yam, zucchini, and then some herbs like basil, chili, coriander, ginger, lemongrass, marjoram, mint, oregano, parsley, rosemary, and thyme. Then some grain foods. So this is surprising that you find grain even. Um,
Yeah, it's like it's a silly mention, right? Gluten-free bread, right? And gluten-free cereal products. Okay, so
yeah,
modified grain foods.
yeah, modified grain foods. Bread, rice, oats, polenta, other arrowroot, millet, psyllium, quinoa, sorghum, tapioca. Certainly, I mean, I guess rice, maybe white rice. It's probably the most acceptable of this list. This list. Milk products, lactose free, oat milk. Okay, rice milk, soy milk. Check for additives, right? Because the additives may be not good. Cheeses, hard cheeses, and brie and camembert, yogurt, lactose free varieties, ice cream, substitutes. gelati, uh, sorbet, butter substitutes like olive oil.
What? Yeah. Or
The-
ghee or tallow or lard.
uh, Jason says, "Who would ever want to substitute butter with olive oil?" I know, right?
Yeah, nonsense.
It's
We,
absolute nonsense.
we did not make this list. We're just here to relay information. Still have a lot more to cover after this, but just so you know, we're giving you the full information. These are generally accepted as low FODMAP foods, and will be recommended on a FODMAP diet, FODMAP elimination diet, right?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Other sweeteners, sugar. It has to be sucrose, glucose, artificial sweeteners not ending in "ol." So that's
Yeah,
all so erythritol is in there. Honey substitutes, golden syrup, maple syrup, molasses, triticol. But you must have it in small quantities. Okay, what is a small quantity, man?
yeah. There's a disclaimer. There are small quantities. I mean,
What's
sure, if you must really, really have any of these foods, you obviously don't want to overdo it.
Have a little droplet of golden syrup and maple syrup. Have a droplet. Yeah, so uh you know, what are you actually eating? Eggs and meat. Certain cheeses like brie, camembert, cheddar, and feta. That was in the other slide. Hard cheeses. Almond milk, according to the John Hopkins medicine. Grains, according to John Hopkins, rice, quinoa, and oats. And vegetables, also according to John Hopkins, eggplants, potatoes, tomatoes, cucumbers, and zucchini. And lastly, fruits that are approved by John Hopkins is grapes, oranges, strawberries, blueberries, and pineapple.
Yeah, yeah, and it's worth mentioning that these are going to be low FODMAP foods. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're low in anti-nutrients either. Just something to consider. Lectins, oxalates, what have you. What else? Can't think of any other. There's so many anti-nutrients.
Yeah, anti-nutrient. Yeah, yeah. Phytonutrients,
Phytates,
phytates, fattic
yeah,
acid. That's what I was trying to say.
yeah, they're gonna hinder your nutrient absorption, mineral absorption,
Yeah,
things of that nature. Tomatoes notoriously high in lectins.
lectins.
Uh,
Yes, sir. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah, eggplants and all of those vegetables are like nightshades. I forget what's the issue with nightshades, but there's something in them. They're solenin, which can be like inflammatory. Of course, this will depend on the person. We're not saying these are foods that are trying to kill you,
Hmm.
but just something worth experimenting with and noticing that there may be other reasons why you would want to eliminate these foods other than just FODMAP. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, yeah, overall, looking at this list, it's like, oh yeah, I mean, it's kind of okay. I'm okay with rice, potatoes, I guess, cucumber, zucchini, um, strawberries, blueberries, pineapple. All right,
Yeah.
all right.
I mean, we're grown adults. Like, we shouldn't be afraid of these foods. Like,
Y- Yeah,
some people are.
yeah,
Of
true,
course,
true.
they shouldn't replace meat or eggs on your plate. That's it. So,
Yes, yes.
yeah, it's a non-dogmatic carnivore show, animal-based nutrition. We want you to find what's sustainable for you, not to try to belong to a carnivore label.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Like, yeah, you can probably start off as carnivore, or maybe kind of have your baseline as carnivore, and then just throw in these low FODMAP foods. Tips for injured gut. Well, yeah, eliminate and minimize the fibrous foods. Eat lots of protein.
Yeah. So a fun fact that most people won't know is that the gut is actually one of the higher protein demanding organs in the body. So it'll feature like some of the highest protein turnover in the body. I think the or at least the gut lining will actually replace itself completely in a period of like 3 to 7 days. So if you think about that, what that means is that the gut will literally like replace itself. All the protein there, all the cells will replace themselves within a week. Okay, versus if you compare that to another organ like muscle actually doesn't really have that high of a protein turnover. So actually, the gut might be more protein demanding than your physical muscle. Muscle will only tend to like turn itself over by like 2% per day on average. Like it depends, right? If you're working out and all of that stuff, if you're having a high protein diet, then it's likely the protein turnover increases, and that's why one of the benefits of carnivore is increased recovery or better recovery. But just something to note again, the gut actually is very protein demanding, so that's why protein is very beneficial for the gut. And then of course eating broth, so making stews rich in collagen from eating boned meats is also going to be very beneficial because collagen is one of the most common, if not the most common, protein found in the human body. Our skin is made from collagen, and then lots of tissues in our organs that can be made from collagen. So it's not uncommon for people with digestive issues to be consuming lots of broth or stews, for that matter.
Yeah. Avoid raw vegetables, right? Looks like cooking is kind of helpful.
Yeah.
Opt for animal fats, right? I don't know, pretty self-evident point. And ketosis, right? Because ketones are good for your gut.
Yeah, so ketones will be anti-inflammatory, and ketones are also known as beta hydroxy what? Butyrate, right? Butyrate. And then what is butyrate beneficial for? Feeding your colon cells, right? So that's why people recommend you eat fiber for the butyrate that your bacteria will ferment the fibers into. And again, butter is the richest dietary source of butyrate. So, and you're also getting some butyrate to your colon cells if you're in a state of ketosis. Surprise, surprise, lots of people see health benefits when they go keto and whenever they go carnivore, especially with their digestive issues. Of course, you can be a high vegetable keto person. That's probably not going to be very good.
And reintroduction of fermented foods like yogurt or kefir.
Yeah. So, again, fermented foods will be like a way of introducing like healthy bacteria into the gut. And you hear a lot of that all the time. So if you're struggling with an injured gut, it might be beneficial to start trying to add some of these foods at some point in very very small amounts, of course, to just repopulate the gut with more robust bacteria that will help you, for your gut health. Right. One of the main things that happens during breast milk feeding is that actually like the milk's the bacteria in the milk will be populating the baby's gut bacteria for the future, and this will play a huge role in their immune system because again, most disease, if not all, starts in the gut. So just something to keep in mind, and if it can be raw, even better. Again, fermented is because you'll be minimizing the FODMAPs.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The fermentation is happening outside of your body, not in your body.
Exactly. Yes. Good way of putting it.
So, how long to do it? You know, you know, generally it's recommended to eliminate high FODMAP foods for 2 to 6 weeks, right? Obviously, if you're it's kind of something similar. If you're thinking about carnivore, you eliminate that for about a month. Some people would generally recommend higher, maybe 2, 3, 6 months. So you really rake in those benefits of like really removing these foods, stepping away from these foods as long as possible, just so you can, regain your health. But if you're trying to go the FODMAP approach, is 2 to 6 weeks. And then you start introducing foods one by one if you so choose. The idea of it is to help you identify which specific foods of the high FODMAP group are causing problems. Because you may only have adverse effects with just one type of food, and you may be able to enjoy or have other foods that doesn't cause you symptoms. And that pretty much covers it, man.
Yeah, FODMAPs debunked. Well,
FODMAPs.
there's nothing really to debunk, just to explain. And again, the whole point of this is to offer some unbiased information so that you may better inform yourself and navigate the confusing world of nutrition, right? If you're someone who's looking to reintroducing plant foods into your carnivore diet, then how do you go about that, and how do you start? Well, here are some suggestions, right? Start with the low FODMAP foods, and kind of play around. Of course, different people will have different tolerances to different types of foods, and for many other reasons besides just FODMAPs. So just something to consider. As always, our recommendation is include a well-balanced variety of animal foods for maximum nutrition, and then plant foods, should you want them for personal preference, and can you allow them? I think humans are robust and strong enough that a little bit of plants won't kill you. Of course, don't go plant-based and don't go full vegetarian. But it shouldn't be. I think the message of that, like, plants are trying to kill us, might go too far, or like take away from, like, the powerful thing here, right? Of course, some people would disagree with that, and that's totally fine. You got to find what's sustainable for you.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's what's sustainable to the person. Yeah, maybe just eliminating high FODMAP group foods, like from the list that you see in front of you. Maybe that's good enough, and suddenly your quality of life is much better.
Exactly. Yeah, and then of course, something else to consider is how you prepare the foods, right? So raw vegetables obviously way more damaging, or like way more impactful on your digestion than cooking them, or maybe like putting them in a stew, or like steaming them, boiling them. I don't know. Fermenting the grains, sprouting them, all these practices that are just like so much effort. But should you choose, you want to have them, then it's important to take that into consideration. I'm happy with my fermented dairy in the form of yogurt. I think that's pretty sweet.
Yes, yeah, yeah. It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Yeah,
And
brings great compliment.
yeah, yeah. And again, low fat FODMAP foods that you may want to have in your diet if you find pleasure in them, basically. And with all that said,
Yeah, it's a good place to wrap up. Nice episode. Keeping it under 50 minutes this time. Not bad.
yeah, not bad, not bad. We kept it under an hour. I like it.
Yeah, as we should try to strive, right? I think it'll be easier for more people to absorb this content without having to invest too much time.
Yes.
But of course, if you have any questions, you can leave any comments here. Of course, join our Discord for discussion. Follow us on Instagram, obviously, right? Listen, check out our live Q&As, and then of course we do this live on YouTube, so you can always pop in and ask us any questions. This week we have 2 interviews lined up. We're talking to Carnivore Kimberly tomorrow. She's been long-term carnivore. She's also pregnant, so we'll be discussing some of that. And she has her own goats, so she's got experience raising goats, and has her own goat yoga establishment in Texas, actually, just outside of Houston. So that's going to be very interesting talking to her. And then we're talking to Rory on Thursday from Rory's Kitchen Rules,
Nice.
who recently did or I think might still be doing a a carnivore GAPS diet. So GAPS is another elimination diet. It's the auto. I forget what the letters actually stand for. Maybe it's like autoimmune protocol, or is that the AIP? I forget. But anyways, he did an elimination diet version of carnivore. Healed lots of health issues, digestive issues, skin issues, and I believe some mental health issues as well. So that's going to be a very interesting conversation to have with Rory. Looking forward to it on Thursday. So if you're watching this, feel free to tune in. Just a couple of announcements. What's coming down the pipeline this week? Anything else, Jay? You wanna touch on?
No, that's all, man. That's all. Awesome. I look forward to the interviews. Happy to talk to Kimberly and Rory's Kitchen. We're gonna learn quite a bit and talk about a lot of fun stuff. And with all that said, I think we got it. I think we're there.
Cool.
So,
yeah, let's wrap this up. Have a good night. Happy Monday, everyone, and eat lots of meat. And as always, just follow us on all the platforms. Buy our merch, and of course, we offer 2-on-1 consultations to help you along your weight loss journey and fitness goals using an animal-based approach. And then we blend in some other concepts, mixing in bodybuilding, powerlifting, and if you want to get really technical about it, even like circadian biology and circannual biology, if you will. What does that mean? That's a good question. Ask us and find out. So, take it home, Jay.
all right. Wishing everyone a happy, healthy, and more nutrient dense present and future. Have a good night.
Gonna eat it by the sticks tonight. Gonna eat out this way.